Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Sunday Night's Trivia. Lorraine Lee Burnham, good evening. Why, I wonder, good evening. Kitty-Coo, good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Gemma, good evening. I hope you all had a great weekend. Thank you for being here tonight with us. All the trivia questions tonight are on Ted Bundy. Good old Ted Bundy. All of the questions tonight. 20 multiple choice questions, all displayed on screen. These are answer A, B, C, or D. Interpees, good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia, Interpees. Hope you had a great weekend. Kitty Q is almost done with supper. I wonder what she's having for dinner. I won't eat dinner until afterwards, and I will be having a spinach salad with walnuts, Parmesan, and Italian dressing. Well, no, I'm not sure about the dressing. I might just go with just the oil and vinegar vinaigrette. That's what I'll be eating for dinner tonight, because that's what I want. I could have anything I want. I got steak, I got chicken, and all kinds of fixings and sides and stuff. But I just been craving a spinach salad all day today. Nothing beats a good spinach salad for me. I don't like tomatoes or anything else on it. Just simple. I'm making shrimp scampi and on fettuccine noodles. Ooh, yum. That sounds delicious, Kitty Q. We eat a lot of pasta in my household here, but I'm not as big of a fan of pasta. When I do eat pasta, I usually eat it when I'm traveling. I like to check out, different places to see how they can screw up fettuccine Alfredo. And trust me, people can really screw that up. We'll give it a couple more minutes here for people to get their notifications and hop on in here for tonight's trivia. Again, tonight's trivia subject matter is Ted Bundy. All of the questions tonight come from the Bundy file. 20 multiple choice questions if you're new here or just listening along. More than happy to play along. Everyone is welcome to play. All the questions again are multiple choice. You'll see the question and the four possible answers. Answer either A, B, C, D, or E, and make up your own answer. Everyone, be sure you're on all messages. Yes, all messages or live messages. It all depends on what your your device is. No, like I know, for instance, I'll show you. I have my son's Apple, his tablet here. The live stream on there, it shows live chat, top chat. Those are the only two options it gives you on the Apple device, at least on that one. I don't know if that's for every one of them, but that's how it definitely shows up on there. But yes, you want to be on all messages, not just the chat de facto setting. Left-handed RN. Good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Tonight's trivia is all on Ted Bundy. Gemma says, I just woke up. I slept earlier so I could be here. Because it is what? Midnight, just past midnight there in the UK. All right, let's get tonight's trivia going, ladies and gentlemen. This is the 357th episode of True Crime Trivia. 357th episode. Yes, that means there are 356 other episodes. Warning, this trivia night strictly adheres to factual evidence and verified data from the FBI, Department of Justice, and Scotland Yard when needed. It does not include conspiracy theories, speculations, or unverified claims about what may have happened. If you are seeking sensationalism or content related to similar theories or lies spread by those who can't be bothered to do the research on the topic, this event and topic may not be the right fit for you. Neither I nor my advertisers or sponsors associated with this content shall be held responsible for individuals under the age of 17 accessing this material. This content and all streams that I do on Saturdays and Sundays are age restricted on YouTube. If you're under the age of 17 and you're accessing it, it's because you did something naughty. Additionally, we are not liable for comments and or live chat messages, as they do not necessarily reflect our views or opinions. That isn't for YouTube. I have moderators here that control the comments pretty well. That is for other venues such as X and for Facebook, where moderations on those sites is, well, harder to get and consistent matter. This program documents actual crimes and offenses by criminals. Pretty much goes on saying, right? For Crime Channel to be having, conversations about criminals. Some of the content covered here may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Question number 1 is now on your screen. What was Ted Bundy's birth name? Was it A, Theodore Robert Caldwell, B, Theodore Teddy Caldwell, C, Theodore Robert Bundy, or D, Theodore Robert Bundy? I know they're the same. I just couldn't think of another name. But I am aware that C and D are the same. Gianna Marie. Good evening, Gianna Marie. Welcome to tonight's trivia, Gianna Marie. I hope you had a great weekend. All right. I'm trying something here to make sure. There we go. That is the new and improved size of the Will Little window. That's as big as I can make it for tonight, because if you look to which would be this side right here, a couple of the questions and the answers actually come too close, so I have to adjust it. I just learned that I could do this yesterday, so that's almost double the size that it was before the little window. But next week I'll be able to expand it out even more and push it up closer to the bottom of Theodore Bundy's little chin there. Lemon pie. Jumping in right away with Polly Shore. And good evening, Lemon Pie. Welcome to tonight's trivia. But it's going to take me a week to, while after tonight's stream, tomorrow I'm going to play with it some more on the formatting, to move it up more and expand it that way. So, make it look a lot better. But again, I just learned this yesterday, right after yesterday's morning stream, that this was an option, because it's all in the beta stats right now, along with other things that I can add to the stream, like background music, and I can add starburst and swirling things where like the correct answer swirls and spins. I don't think I'm going to be adding any of that stuff. I don't need people to get insomnia or sick or have a seizure over the damn stream. But the answer to question number one, the first question tonight, the correct answer is A, as in apple. Theodore Robert Caldwell was Bundy's birth name. Question number two. Who did Ted Bundy believe was his sister for much of his life? Was it A, his biological sister, Janet Caldwell? B, his biological mother, Eleanor Caldwell? C, his aunt Sarah Louise Caldwell? Or D, Lori Vallow Daybell? Lita. Good evening, Lita, and welcome to tonight's trivia. Smoke them if you got them. We got Lieutenant Orient Cali Lisa. Cali Lisa sneaking in there. Good evening, Cali Lisa. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Cali Lisa, Gianna Marie, Lemon Pie, Kitty Coo, and Gemma are all going with B. Inner Peas, Aretha Franklin. And Lemon Pie going with E. Whoopi Goldberg. Carly. Good evening, Carly, and welcome to tonight's trivia. Tonight we are answering questions on Ted Bundy, the serial killer Ted Bundy. 20 multiple choice questions, all displayed on the screen as you see right now, with the possible one of the four, A, B, C, or D is the right answer. Annie, Alpha. Okay, Annie. A as an Alpha, not Bravo, not Charlie, or Delta. Alpha. Doesn't it look like Annie's name is in a different font? I wonder how you can do that. That's cool. And Lacey, good evening, Lacey, and welcome to tonight's trivia. Question number two. The correct answer is B as in boy. His biological mother, Eleanor Caldwell, he believed was his sister, but she gave birth to good old Teddy and acted as a sister. Question number three. What city and state was Ted Bundy born? Was it A, Burlington, Vermont, B, Seattle, Washington, C, St. Paul, Minnesota, or D, New York City, New York? Washington, home of the serial killers. There have been several from Washington State, that is for sure. You are correct about that, Annie. I think when it comes to the population of where most serial killers were either where they hunted and where they actually killed, California takes the record there. And but then again, think about all the different families that have transplanted into California as the population grew. Now, a lot of people ask about Colorado. My gosh, there's been a lot of murders in Colorado recently. That's because Colorado is booming because of the oil industry and people are moving there. More people, more crime, more serial killers or murderers. Crafted evidence. Good evening. Well, you're more on time than those who are not here, Crafted Evidence. Welcome to tonight's trivia. We are answering questions about Ted Bundy tonight. Question number three. The correct answer is A as in apple. He was born in Burlington, Vermont. Burlington, Vermont. Did you know? Sadly, she was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Bundy was actually looking for another woman when he abducted and killed Kimberly Leach, who was 12 years old. The youngest victim of Ted Bundy, Kimberly Leach, was just 12 years old. But at the time that he saw her and picked her up, he was actually looking for another woman. According to the Bundy tapes that are a part of the FBI's file where they sat down and talked with him, he said he wasn't even looking for another victim. He was looking for another woman that he had seen on that road earlier in the day, and he came upon Kimberly Leach. Question number 4. What future true crime author worked alongside Ted Bundy at the crisis hotline? Was it A, Anne Rice, B, Anne Rule, C, Anne Reese, or D, Anne Reiner? Well, Lacey, just like everyone else, we're here for fun, entertainment, and educational purposes. Learn something new. I'll learn something else. I don't know all the answers to all these. I put the trivia together. Some weeks I get half of them right. Other weeks I get most of them right. And I just pick them. I pick the questions at random. I usually come up with 30, 40 questions, and then I just randomly assign each one a number, and I randomly, generate a number for each one of them. And 1 through 20 get put onto the trivia night. To clarify, the woman he married was that an alter, the Rose's mother, Ted Bundy's wife. He married her in a courtroom. Good evening, Joe Tall Chief. How have you been? I hope you've been doing well. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Question number 4. The correct answer is B, as in boy, Anne Rule. Now, I know the difference between the two writers, Anne Rule and Anne Rice. I mean, their work is vastly different from each other. But every time someone asks me who used to work with him at the hotline, I always want to say Anne Rice. I don't know why, but in my head, in my memory, I always think it's Anne Rice that he worked with, but it was Anne Rule. Was she an author? Oh, you're asking me if his wife that he married? No, she was a groupie. I know that. She may have became a writer later on, but I know she either changed her name or she was thinking about it at one point. Rose's mother, because that's what Bundy's daughter's name is Rose. But I think they've actually closed that loophole now in the state of Florida. But then again, that loophole still might be available for death row inmates and those in the middle of a court case, like for murder, might still be able to get married. I don't know. I'm not as familiar with Florida laws as I should be. All right, question number 5. Ted Bundy famously drove, that should be drove, not drive, famously drive a Volkswagen Beetle. What year was the car? Sorry about that. Should be drove, not drive. Was it A, a 1966 Volkswagen Beetle, B, a 1964 Volkswagen Beetle, C, a 1968 Volkswagen Beetle, or D, a 1967 Volkswagen Beetle? You're going to jump out of the chat really quick and do a little video short to tell people to come here and hang out. Be right back. All right, crafted evidence. Yes, Lacey. His daughter's name is Rose. Rose is his daughter's name. Inner Peace is going with 1999. We're going to party like it's 1999. A lot of C's. A lot of people apparently think it's a 1968 Volkswagen Beetle. A lemon pie is a Model T. Question number 5. Ted Bundy famously drove a Volkswagen Beetle. What year was the car that he drove? The correct answer is C as in cat. A 1968 Volkswagen Super Beetle or Bug, whichever people like to call it. There's a lot of similarities to Ted Bundy and Brian Kohlberg, says Lacey. Yeah, and we just learned, not too long ago, past week or so, that Brian Kohlberg had actually researched, on one of his Google searches before he allegedly killed the University of Idaho students. He searched for the Bundy method or the Bundy way. I can't remember it exactly right now, but he definitely searched Ted Bundy. He liked Ted Bundy. Yeah. Question number 6. Ted Bundy applied to which elite law school and claimed he was accepted. However, there aren't any records of it. Which school was this? Was it A, Yale, B, Harvard, C, Princeton, or D, Stanford? Ted Bundy, question number 6 of 20. Ted Bundy applied to which elite law school and claimed that he was accepted? Yes. Carol Boone. Got Lisa, Annie, Lemon Pie, and Gemma are all going with B. There's an eerie picture of Ted Bundy giving the thumbs up, like Brian. I'm not sure if I have that, if I use that photo tonight. All 20 photos for each and every question has a different photo tonight. At least I tried to. I might have reused a couple of them here and there. Johnny Cochran School of Law. Trump University. Oh. Question number 6 of 20. The correct answer to question number 6 is D as in dog. Stanford University is the prestigious law school that he said that he applied to and was accepted. However, going through the archive records of Stanford University, they cannot find anywhere in their file that he was actually accepted into their law program or to the university. He may have applied, but they have no records of him actually being accepted as a student there. Good evening, Purple. Welcome to tonight's trivia. All the questions tonight are on Ted Bundy. I hope you had a great week. Chandler says, University of being a wackadoodle crazy. Did you know, even though Ted Bundy spoke with several people, doctors and therapists while awaiting death, He was never officially diagnosed with any mental health issue. This is important, in the grander scheme of things. Everyone wants to say that Ted Bundy was a narcissist, a psychopath, or a sociopath, or he had this or he had that. But each and every person who came and talked to Ted Bundy that was, in either a psychologist, a therapist, or they only were able to see him once. They needed to see him multiple times. But Ted would sit and talk with them. And then when they were supposed to make their follow up appointments so they could diagnose him, Ted would cancel the actual meetings. So he was never officially diagnosed because any good psychologist or therapist, would tell you, I can't make a definitive, conclusion on what mental health issues he may or may not have had based on one in particular meeting. You have to have multiples, usually around 2 or 3, in order to, completely diagnose someone as being it. Now we can all say, well, just because of what he did, he definitely, was a psychopath, and he was a narcissist. We can say, look, we can see the traits of a narcissist, and a pathological liar. You can say that you see all these things. We all see them, but unless you're in the profession, you can't officially diagnose someone like that without seeing them multiple times. All right, question number 7. How many days was Ted Bundy free after his first escape before being arrested again? Was it A, 21 days, B, 2 months, C, 6 days, or D, 12 days? Question number 7 of 20. How many days was Ted Bundy free after his first escape before being arrested again? It took a year and a half for you to be diagnosed with autism. For when we took my son to a specialist, we had actually had to drive because we don't have anybody in our area that does the actual diagnosis of autism, Gemma. So it's about 340 miles away was the nearest doctor that specialized in diagnosis of autism, and it was a 2-day meeting, Friday and a Saturday. Yes, lemon pie, he did. He escaped more than once. He escaped. Yes, he did. Crafted evidence is back. Welcome back, crafted evidence. There was a billboard saying, contribute to the effort, turn out your lights at 9 p.m. tonight for the Bundy execution. I'm not going to mention any names if they want to chime in, but somebody who is in this stream right now has the burn and Bundy burn or fry Bundy fry shirt, t-shirt. So I was confirming what you were saying about Ted needing many meetings. You have so much information to collect. Yeah. I had no idea they meant until the next day. All right, question number 7. The correct answer is C, as in cat. He escaped and he was on the run for 6 days before he was arrested again. Question number 8. After Ted Bundy's first escape, he was positively identified at which burger restaurant, yet no one called it in because they believed he was in jail. Was he positively identified at A, Bob's Big Boy, B, Burger King, C, McDonald's, or D, Sambo's? Question number 8 of 20. Annie was up at 4 a.m. watching the execution. Kitty Coo, a question mark, no clue, says Kitty Coo. Lemon pie. Krusty's Burgers. That's good. That was good, lemon pie. Tonight, I am drinking dragon fruit lemonade. That cool, refreshing drink. I got it at the overpriced coffee shop. In and out. All right, question number 8. The correct answer is B as in boy. Burger King. After he escaped, he was positively identified at Burger King restaurant, but the manager who saw him and recognized him from his wanted poster that they had put out said, "No, it can't be him. It's got to be somebody who looks like him," and didn't call it in because he thought, well, he just saw on the news that he was arrested and that he was in jail, so he didn't call it in. And it turns out that Bundy had broken out and was on the run. Question number 9. What drastic measure did Ted Bundy take to aid in his second escape from jail in 1977? Was it A, he covered his entire body in grease, B, covered his body in liquid soap, or C, he lost 30 pounds, or D, lost 30 pounds and covered his body in lotion? Question number 9 of 20. What drastic measure did Ted Bundy take to aid in his second escape from jail in 1977? Dang chain restaurant. Have it your way at Burger King, right? Question number 9 of 20. Someone brought a cake with a knife in it. Lemon pie cracks me up. He seduced Joy Behar in his drastic measure to escape from jail in 77 was he seduced Joy Behar. I guess that would be a drastic measure, wouldn't it, for Ted Bundy? All right. The correct answer for question 9 is C. He lost 30 pounds. 30 pounds. And this is one of the photos that was taken around that time when he had slimmed down. He lost 30 pounds just so he could aid in his escape. Question number 10. While on the run as a fugitive in Florida, what alias did Ted Bundy use? Was it A, Chris Hagen, B, Chris Hansen, C, Chris Watts, or D, Chris Cowell? The Wicked Witch of the Midwest, good evening and welcome to tonight's trivia. Tonight, all the questions are on Ted Bundy. We are currently on question 10 of 20. Make sure you are on all chat so you see the messages and comments as they come through. Make sure you're on all chat. The Bundy Files. Inner Peace is going with Barry Morphew. This is his alias. When he was on the run in Florida after his second escape. Ted Orange going A Lita D Purple. A Chris Kringle. Lemon pie. Wicked Witch of the Midwest says Bundy pro, but not pro Bundy. That's a good way to put it. I am a pro at Ed Kemper, but I'm not pro Ed Kemper. All right, the answer to question number 10 is A as in apple. Chris Hagen was the alias that he used while on the run in the state of Florida after escaping in 1977. For those who are new here, after the first 10 questions, we take a break. For the next 7 minutes, we will be on break. While we're on break, you can go do whatever you need to do. Shotgun a beer, smoke a bowl, shotgun, a fifth of whiskey. I don't care. You do whatever you need to do. Make a sandwich, some tea, coffee, whatever. You do. You have 7-minute break. But while we're on break, I'm now going to cover cases of missing and endangered people from around the United States. These are open, cold cases of people who are missing. I work along with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, the Charlie Project, the FBI, NAMUS, along with the Doe Network to help bring a spotlight and help, hopefully solve, some of these cold cases of people who are missing. And I've been doing this for quite a while, every single week. This week we have 3 cases. One that was suggested to me directly from NAMUS project actually reached out to me and wanted me to add it for this weekend. First missing and endangered person is Maria Olivert. She is 53 years of age as of 2024. That means that her birthday has not come yet in this year. She was last seen on 10/16 of 2020. She vanished from Alameda, California. She is 5'6", 130 to 140 pounds with brown hair and brown eyes. She has no known scars or medical conditions. Olivert was last seen in Alameda, California on October 16, 2020. It should be noted that Maria often colors her hair different colors using only organic dyes she has purchased from health food stores. Likewise, she is what friends describe as a health nut. There is no evidence of foul play in her disappearance, and she has never been heard from again. The number you see on your screen, 510-337-8340, you can call and leave a tip, and you can remain anonymous by leaving a tip with the sheriff's department. If you know anything about what happened to Maria Olivert or where she may be today, please do not assume that these missing and endangered people are dead. Some of them are very much alive, and we have had actual confirmation from a couple of the people I've programmed before. Maybe they didn't see it from here, but they did reach out later on and contact their families or loved ones later on after being missing for up to 10 years and say, hey, I'm alive. I just don't want to be there anymore. And this is where I am. But again, you can remain anonymous by leaving a tip at that number. The next case is Joanne Angel, age 51, last seen December 17th of 2011, disappeared from Etna, Pennsylvania. She is 5'3", 115 to 125 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes, blondish brown hair, as you can see from the picture here. They're lighter colors along with the darker colors. No known scars or tattoos, but she does suffer from seizures. Angel was last seen in Edinburgh, Pennsylvania on December 17, 2011. She may have been seen at a gas station in North Versailles, North Huntington area on December 21st of 2011. There was also may have been sightings in several other states matching her description of a woman who is reportedly going by the name of Sandra. She has never been heard from again, though, officially. All right. Be on the lookout for the following. At the time that she disappeared, she was driving a blue 2006 Chrysler Sebring convertible. That is a convertible with a black top. Pennsylvania license plate HMW 8034. This car has never appeared. They have checked all state records across the United States for junkyard, salvage yards, and everything else. The car has never appeared anywhere in the databases. Likewise, any body of water that was along the path in within a 75-mile radius of where she was last seen has been searched as well, along with several people who are family members of hers who have reached out to the different groups of people you see maybe on YouTube or other social media that do water rescues and searches. And there's not much to go on because obviously they've already done thorough searches of the area within 75 miles of where she was last seen. Even the gas station that she may have been seen at on the 21st, they expanded the area out additionally, again, 75 miles from that gas station. If you know anything about what may have happened with the Angel, you can call 412-473-3000. And again, you can remain anonymous by leaving a tip at that number. Next is Brenda Sue Sicca, 43 as of 2025. Yes, her birthday just passed. Last seen on 7/3 of 2017. Vanished from Huntsville, Alabama officially. She is 5 foot to 5'3". It depends on who you're actually looking at what site you're looking at for the information. That's why there's a discrepancy in her actual height, because there are sites that have her information as 5'2", others have 5'3", others have 5 foot. If I had to guess, I would say she is 5 foot because that is the state records from the state of Alabama list her as 5 foot tall. Weight 100 to 120 pounds. Brown hair, brown eyes. She has several tattoos all over her body, arms and hands, and the back of her neck. She has a cross. I do not have a picture of that actual tattoo, but it's a very large cross on the back of her neck. She has no known medical conditions. So she suddenly abruptly moved out of her apartment at the Overlook on Sparksman Drive in July. In August, month later, she emailed her family and said that she was living in Wyoming and was safe and happy and was looking forward to seeing them in January of 2018. She has never been heard from again. It doesn't mean that she isn't in Wyoming living, the best life that she can. In the past, she has worked as a nurse and she has worked in hospice care. I'll go back quickly so you can see the bottom picture here with her bangs hanging in a ponytail hanging over her shoulder. That is what she looked like normally when she went to work, as opposed to the top picture. I'm talking about the bottom picture there. But Brenda Sue Sicca has worked in the nursing industry in the past. She may be working in the same industry again. When family and friends were reached about information about Brenda, they basically said she was just sick and tired of her life in Alabama and wanted to, find more adventure and, and go in a different direction with her life. From the time that, she was, that the internet and social media came available, Brenda was a prolific, on, social media, everything from YouTube to Facebook and stuff that were out back in 2018. But she abruptly ended her entire thing being on social media, and shortly before she vanished. Now, is there a connection between her internet usage and her moving to Wyoming from Alabama without telling? Again, she moved from Alabama to Wyoming and didn't tell anyone, her friends, her family, no one. And they were surprised when she finally, after she'd been missing for a while, reached out to them and said, I'm living in Wyoming and I'm happy and safe. But again, Brenda very well it could be out there and just doesn't care to contact the people in Alabama anymore. If you know anything about what happened to Brenda Sicca, you can call 256-427-5476. And yes, you can again remain anonymous. That is the tip line number to the sheriff's department, where she disappeared from in Alabama. Break time is not over with yet. You still have a little less than 3 minutes left of your actual break. And before we go on to the second half of tonight's trivia, so if you need to use the facilities or shotgun another beer or smoke another bowl or whatever you do you. Again, you have less than 3 minutes left. If she vanished willingly, erasing her social media is brilliant. Yeah. And I had the question. Look, she vanished, and hello, seclusion works. Welcome to tonight's trivia. But I had the question. Okay, so she was living her life, and then she decided she didn't want to live there anymore, and she was sick of how her life was going, and decided to move to Wyoming. Maybe she met someone online. There's no saying that when she moved to Wyoming, it wasn't a trap, and something happened to her, and that person who, because this is how my mind works, I go down that rabbit hole of like, oh, then a new person, who lured her to Wyoming killed her or something, and they send a message to the family, saying that she's alive and happy. But the family said, from according to the newscasts and the interview that they gave, they knew that the message was from Brenda. So that kind of shot that theory out the window, because she put things in there that only Brenda would know. Now, could she have been being held captive in Wyoming by someone like, Castro, where he kept those women, prisoner for years in his house? Could it be a situation like that? I know way too much about true crime and criminals. Because that's where my mind went. It's like, hey, we don't know if she's really alive out there. She says she's alive and happy and living in Wyoming, but she didn't show back up in 2018. You have approximately 39 seconds left of the break. And then we'll be back to the second half of tonight's trivia, along with our question of the week. That is true, Lacey. There are a lot of people, a lot of serial killers out there that definitely have taken inspiration from Ted Bundy over the years, or said that he was an inspiration for their crime sprees. You have 21 seconds left. And we're back. Without any further delay, let's get back to our normal programming. Question number 11 is now on your screen. Burn, baby, burn, burn, Bundy, burn. What year was Ted Bundy executed? Was it A, 1988, B, 1987, C, 1986, or D, 1989? What year was Ted Bundy executed? And earlier, someone had posted that they saw a billboard about Ted Bundy. People join in, turn off your electricity or whatever. There were businesses and residential power people who received power from the local community who turned off their lights and everything so they would have enough juice to electrocute Ted Bundy. It's not how it works, but people still did it anyways. They canceled their services for the day. I always found that fascinating because he's not the only person that somebody was being electrocuted in the electric chair where people turned off their power. Good evening, Cement Shoes, and welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a great weekend. Question number 11 of 20. Burn, baby, burn. Rackart, good evening. How are you doing, Rackart? I hope you are doing well. And Jet's mom. Good evening, Jet's mom. How have you been? I hope you've been doing well. I'm glad you could be here tonight for Ted Bundy trivia. Question number 11. The correct answer is D as in dog, 1989. 1989. Question number 12. Between the years 1989 and 1990, how much money was made selling and licensing the likeness of Ted Bundy on merchandise? Was it A, $6,444,281, B, $720,004, C, $1,897,015, or D, 0? Between the years 1989 and 1990, how much money was made from selling and licensing merchandise with the likeness of Ted Bundy on it? Question number 12 of 20. Question number 12 of 20. And in case you guys are wondering, it is a huge industry out there for dead serial killers, spree killers, and killers in general, in licensing and controlling their likeness, and everything else. There are companies, law firms out there, who are just like agents for actors and actresses and singers and stuff like that. These law firms handle just the likeness of people like Ted Bundy, limiting licensing, and collecting money for their usage on everything from coffee mugs to shirts to hats to posters to book covers, everything. How much money? And then, in case you're also wondering, additionally, well, now that the serial killer's gone, what happens to all that money that they make from licensing? In the Bundy, situation, any money that is made goes into an account, and then those who are benefactors of it, like his daughter, his wife, or anybody else, would get either a yearly, depending on how they have it set up, yearly or every 6 months, they would cut them a check and mail it to them for whatever they made from licensing and merchandise sales. They don't, these companies, these law firms don't actually make the items themselves. They just control the imaging. And this is for everyone. It's not just serial killers. James Dean, Marilyn Monroe, Kurt Cobain. There are law firms that handle just the likeness and stuff for dead artists and and people who were famous. And like him or not, Ted Bundy was definitely famous. But the answer to question 12, the correct answer is D, as in dog. No money was actually made between 1989 and 1990 for merchandising and licensing of the likeness of Ted Bundy. Why? Because they had not set up an actual agreement with one of these law firms that handle these things. So in the first year, nothing was actually being collected or controlled with Ted Bundy's likeness on it. It certainly is now, and you can get yourself into a heck of a lot of hot water if you use his likeness and stuff like that. Things that are not in the free domain. That's a completely different situation, conversation that we don't have time for. But if you do use his name and that's not in the free domain, you can get yourself in a lot of hot water. And these companies, these law firms, really go after people. All the images that you see tonight are all owned by Getty Images. I have a license with Getty Images to use and display these actual images that you're seeing tonight. Okay, moving on. Question number 13. What was the number one feature Ted Bundy looked for in the appearance of each of his victims? Was it A, freckles, B, professionally dressing style, C, long straight hair, or D, thin but not too thin? Seclusion works. You're having a salad with peach tea. I'm having a salad tonight. I'm having a spinach salad. A simple spinach salad with walnuts, maybe a little Parmesan on it. And I'm thinking I was gonna go, with like the salad dressing, but I think I'm gonna go with just the oil and vinegar. I've just been craving a spinach salad all day today. So that's what I'm making for dinner tonight. But I'm also having dragon fruit lemonade. Lemonade, that cool, refreshing drink. Inner peas. They have to have a pulse so he can kill them. Gianna Marie. Good evening, Gianna Marie. If I didn't say so earlier, is going with C, and so is Lita. Broccoli cheddar soup. Ooh, Joe Talchi. That sounds good. Dead and previously gullible. Question number 13. The correct answer is C, as in cat. Long, straight hair was the number one feature that attracted Ted Bundy to each and every one of his victims. There was even a hysteria that went through the United States when Ted Bundy was out killing people and hunting women, that there were women who actually cut their hair to be short or styled it completely different so they would not fit the profile of Ted Bundy's victims. And where did he get that idea from? He got the if you look at the actual victimology of each and every one of the victims, every one of them looked like a younger version of his fiance that broke off the engagement from him and dumped Ted Bundy. She had long, straight brown hair. She was of a certain size, body size, and a certain height. And every one of them was like a surrogate victim of her. It's it's freaking scary if you ever see the photo of all of his victims next to what his former fiance looked like. And purple is having roasted chicken and mashed potatoes. Yum, yum. I want some. All right. Did you know, as an undergraduate, Ted Bundy pursued a degree in psychology and studied Chinese heritage and language for fun and for academic reasons as well. Yes, could you imagine Ted Bundy as a psychologist? Ooh, makes you wonder. Question number 14. Which killer did Ted Bundy first help make a profile for? Was it A, Gary Newman, B, Gary Ridgway, C, Gary Clark, or D, Gary Ledbetter? Question number 14 of 20. Which killer did Ted Bundy first help make a profile for? And purple, your hair was straight back then? Seclusion worked. I'm a redhead. You can't kill me. Gary Coleman. Which killer did Ted Bundy first help make a profile for? In case you're wondering, who did Ted Bundy help make a profile for? He helped the Behavioral Analysis Unit with the FBI make a profile of this killer and what to look for, what to do when they found the next victim, and what this person was most likely going to do, and how they hunted each and every one of their victims. This profile was so in depth because it was exactly like how Ted Bundy found each of his victims, or what he would do with the victims. All he really did in this profile was tell the FBI exactly how Ted Bundy worked. That killer that he made that profile for the Behavioral Analysis Unit with the FBI was for none other than B as in boy, Gary Ridgway, the Green River Killer. That was the first profile that Ted Bundy made. Ted Bundy also helped the FBI make a general profile for people who were like him, that helped catch other, killers. One possibly is a serial killer, and the other one was an actual killer who hunted women and in and around the United States, and was a traveling salesman, but not known as a serial killer at that time. But Ted Bundy told, in part of that profile that he helped them make, he told them, on the Green River investigation team and the FBI, when you find the next victim, do not touch her. He knows about everything around that body. He knows where every twig is, every candy wrapper, every stick of gum wrapper that is near her, every cigarette butt. He knows how her hair is, how she was left facing the world, face down or face up. And he coming back again and again, and he will come back to have sex with her over and over again until she turns putrid. If he does not remove her head, I'm not joking. This is all in his profile. You can actually request a copy of the profile from the FBI. It costs $15.75. That's to cover the postage and the printing of the profile. $15.75. Now that's if you're in the United States. It's probably more if you live in Canada or overseas. But you can get a copy of it. You might even be able to find one through the Library of Congress, that way as well. But it wasn't ever printed in a book, so they may not have one. I found it online. but that's with a group of people that are in a Facebook group where they have a PDF of it. Someone posted, but I can't tell you the group in them because it's a private group. And well, if you want it, you're gonna have to work for it a little bit. Sorry. All right, next question number 15. What eerie parting words did Judge Edward Coward say to Bundy after sentencing him to death? Was it A, go fuck yourself, sicko? Sorry for the language, but it's an option. B, take a deep breath. C, take care of yourself, young man. Or D, you disgust me, Mr. Bundy. Question number 15 of 20. What eerie parting words did Judge Edward Coward say to Bundy after sentencing him to death? The Tylenol killer is uncaught. I think that when it came to the Tylenol tampering and killings, I think that the guy who they arrested and went after, I think he really was the Tylenol tamperer who put cyanide inside of the Tylenol. But they definitely didn't have enough evidence to carry it out. I can't remember what his name is. I'm sure somebody here remembers the Tylenol poisoning case. That's why your Tylenol, your ibuprofens, and everything else now that you buy over-the-counter medications like that. Well, first off, they don't. If they do sell them in gel caps anymore, I don't know if they even do. But if they do, they're sealed. JDR. Good evening, JDR, and welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a great weekend. Question number 15 of 20. What eerie parting words did the Judge Edward Coward say to Bundy after sentencing him to death? The correct answer is C, as in cat. Take care of yourself, young man. He said he had a lot more to say to him besides that, but the correct answer for this question is C. Take care of yourself, young man. Seclusion works. They do. I take them for your meds. They said to Elaine Werdos, may God have mercy on your corpse. Wow. Purple. You were absolutely correct on that one, Purple. It was either A, B, C, or D. Hedge your bets. It was one of those. All right. Question number 16. Besides using the ruse of being injured to get his victims to his car, what was the second most used ruse Bundy used? Was it A, found a kitten, B, candy, C, free makeup, or D, lost and needed help? Question number 16 of 20. Besides using the ruse of being injured to get victims to his car, what was the second most used ruse Bundy used? In case you're not familiar with this story, I'll share a little bit of it, and you can find the video online, and you can definitely find it on YouTube. But Debbie Harry, the lead singer of the band Blondie, Rapture, once got into a car and accepted a ride from Ted Bundy. When she got into the car and with Bundy, she got an eerie feeling from this man right away. And as they drove down the road, the window was down just enough. She reached over to the door to open the door when it came to a stoplight, but the handle just spun around as if it wasn't attached. So she couldn't get out. Debbie Harry, being quick-minded, and witted about herself, reached her arm back out the window that was down just enough for her to get her arm out and pushed the button on the handle on the outside of the car so the door would open. And as they turned the corner, she rolled out of the car and onto the street. and she survived. But Debbie Harry from the band Blondie almost became one of the victims of Ted Bundy. So, for all those who say that Ted Bundy is not an attractive man and that they would never fall for his ruse of being injured, or what the correct answer to this question is, I bid you good luck, because if he set his sights on you, he would come back and he would get you. All right. The correct answer to question number 16 is D as in dog. Part of the ruse, one of the ruses they used was, oh, I have a fake. He had a fake cast on. I can't, either on his leg or on his arm. He was in crutches. And it's like, hey, can you help me with my books? Maybe he would drop the books, and when a helpful, college student or young woman would help him pick up his books and say, oh, can you carry him over to my car? Yeah, my car's right there. And they would carry him over, and when he got him close to the car, he would club them, and knock them out, and then shove him in the car, or get him in the car and then club him once they got in the car if they accepted a ride from him. But one of the other ruses he used was, I'm lost. I don't understand. Can you show me on the map on how to get to where I'm going? One of the other ruses that he used to get his victims. Did you know it's difficult to give an exact number of books written about Ted Bundy, as new books are constantly being published? There is no central database tracking all publications on a single individual. The best guess, according to abebooks.com, is there are around 300 books. Now, with that 300 books, we're talking about books that are published from a publishing, a book publisher. But in this day and age, it being 2025, as I'm making this and telling you about this, there are a lot of print on demand companies. They basically cut out the agent, they cut out the middleman, the publisher. Now you write the script and you go directly to the publisher if you're the author, and they may offer editing services for a price, or they may offer other services for an additional price. But if it's ready to go, they will print it on demand. The largest print on demand company in America is Amazon. There are thousands and thousands of books that you can click on today to buy on Amazon that they have no actual physical inventory of. They are just being saved in a file, and then when somebody buys it, they print the actual book. All of Chad Daybell's awful books, I had a little throw up in my mouth I had to get rid of there from having to talk about this, but all of Chad Daybell books were printed on a print on demand basis with his publisher. He purchased some to bring to other places, particularly the Seventh-day Adventist universities where, like in Utah. He brought them to bookstores that were, they're attached to the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Some of them he kept himself and then sold them, here and there. But the vast majority of them, all the books, not just the vast majority, all of them were printed on demand with a small publisher. There's no reason for an adult to ask instructions from a child. Sorry about the coughing there. My throat got dry. It's the season for allergies. Question number 17 of 20. Which Republican candidate did Ted Bundy work to get elected in Washington state? Was it A, Daniel J. Evans, B. John F. Kennedy, C. Chad Daybell, or D. Gary Locke? Before you comment and say, hey, some of those are clearly Democrats, that is the point. There are also more than one Republican on this list. But what Republican did Ted Bundy work to get elected in Washington state? Well, it's not an SDA, it's an LDS. Did I say? Did I say SDA? Well, I'm truly sorry. Church of the Latter-day Saints is what Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow belong to, and they're, well, offshoots. E. Reagan. Reagan and his voodoo economics. Little Annie says Inslee. Nixon says Inner Peas. Jay Inslee. Purple and JDR are going with A. And yes, Chad Daybell never ran for political office. So that's one you can take away right off the bat. The correct answer is A. Daniel J. Evans. Bundy volunteered with the Young Republican Party and helped work to hand out flyers, take phone calls, and put together meetings, and stuff like that as a volunteer, whatever they needed. But he worked on trying to get Daniel J. Evans elected as governor in the state of Washington. Question number 18. Which item doesn't belong in the Ted Bundy murder kit? Ski mask, gun, pantyhose, and rope. Which one does not belong in the murder kit for Ted Bundy? Left-handed RN. Go with A. Annie A. Kitty Q A. Ivory Lady A. Inner Peace. Neosporin doesn't belong. Chad Daybell and his 144,000 dead voters. Skittles. Skittles don't belong in his murder kit. Question number 18 of 20. The item that does not belong in Ted Bundy's murder kit from this list is A as in apple. A gun does not belong in Ted Bundy's murder kit. Question number 19. Which second item does not belong in the Bundy murder kit? Handcuffs, crowbar, knife, and tape. Which one does not belong? The photo you see there of Ted Bundy is from his arrest in 1977. Avon book. Very creative answers. Question number 19 of 20. Which second item does not belong in the Bundy kill kit? Kitty Coo? Question mark. Not even a guess. Not even a guess from Kitty Coo on this one. Rock card's going with C. Tupperware catalog. No Avon and no Tupperware catalogs for Ted Bundy. Not in his murder kit. You should have shown have a show about NK and Christopher Watts, Nicole Kessinger. I've done trivia on Chris Watts before, but not particularly on just his lover, his whore. And I'm sorry if people are offended by that word, but that's what she was. No, I guess B, but not sure. His favorite song. All right, question number 19. Before we go down too much on this rabbit hole, the item that does not belong in his murder kit is A as in apple, tape. A crowbar was in his murder kit, along with not one, but two different ski masks, handcuffs, knife, and rope were all in his murder kit. He was stopped once, and these items were all on the back seat of the car and on the front seat. Question number 20. What trophy did Ted Bundy take from each and every victim? Was it A, jewelry, B, ID, C, hair, or D, undergarments? What trophy? If you're not familiar with killers who collect trophies, I'll give you an example of Samuel Little, by far one of the most prolific, serial killers in American history, with a body count of 95 to 99, somewhere in there. But Samuel Little collected a little trophy, a piece of each and every one of his victims, and then he put them in a little box and kept them so he could go through them at any time. And each and every piece, he would remember the victims and what they were like, how they acted, how they laughed, little things about them before he killed them. Well, Ted Bundy was a trophy collector as well. What item did he collect from every single victim? It appears DVD of the Jersey Shore's greatest hits. I don't think his victims were Jersey Shore fans, though. Lemon Pie is going with Jersey Shore DVD collection as well. D, I don't feel good writing it. Oh, wait, I think it's A, says The Wicked Witch of the Midwest. Submit Shoes is going with A. Question 20 of 20. The correct answer to question 20 is, in fact, A as in apple. Jewelry, either it be rings, a necklace, earrings, something. He took some piece of jewelry off of every single one of his victims. People who worked with Ted Bundy along with guards, after he was caught in prison, now I'm talking about on death row, all described Teddy as being lighthearted, a joker, and extremely smart and able to carry on a conversation about any subject. How did you do? This is completely optional. You do not have to do this. What, some people like to keep a track of how many they got right and how many they got wrong. A, B, C, D, but everybody here is an E in my book. You're all rock stars in my book for being here. Again, this is completely optional. Now is the sneak peek at the 24-hour advanced peek at the question of the week. Every week I post these questions on YouTube's community tab, and there's a poll, and you can answer either A, B, C, or D for each and every question. But you get to see the question now. You can answer it now, or you can wait until tomorrow, and when the question is on YouTube. The question of the week is: should there be a national database of convicted murderers like we have for sex offenders? A, yes. B, no. C, maybe. Depends on the case. Or D, I don't have any opinion. Let's talk about birds instead. Again, this question will be posted on the community tab tomorrow before 10 a.m. You do not have to answer it now. You can answer it then. You can also leave a comment then as well. The Wicked Witch of the Midwest only got 2 wrong, but I didn't catch the whole show. Well, that's pretty good. Pretty good in my book. And that is trivia night. The chat is still open. You don't have to leave. Well, it now says that there are only 4 people here. Everybody ran away. As soon as trivia was done, they all went bye. They walked out the door, or again, YouTube is being, silly, like they were yesterday. It said that I lost 300 some subscribers yesterday, and then about 8 hours later, poof, they're all back. I have no idea what happened, what's going on with the system. Wait, there isn't a database for that? No. Individually, states. When it comes to people who have been convicted of murder, Kitty, each individual state has a database on if somebody has been convicted of murder in that state. That database of their information is not necessarily shared with every state. Now, if you're, say, like you murdered someone in California, and you had, your record sealed or whatever, there's all kinds of different things, exoneration, whatever it might be. There's a whole bunch of different legal things that people can do. But if you get pulled over in Iowa, say murder in California, and you're in Iowa, they can pull up that you have a criminal record. But that criminal record only will show the officer necessarily that you were arrested, what the charge was, and if a weapon was involved. It does not say if necessarily if you were convicted and you served 12 years, or if you were found, to be not guilty. That's why it's hard for a lot of people, even if they've been arrested, to have their records, cleaned. Just because they maybe they exonerated you from the charge that you were found not guilty of it, that might still be on a database, either the federal government, the state patrol, or somewhere. It might still be out there. But should we have a database that tracks people, like we do for sex offenders, that says, look, you can pull it up and you can find out how close is a murderer to you wherever you live. And they have to put a geotag on where you live for people who are murdered, like they do for sex offenders. Stay safe out there. You never know who's going to be standing next to you next. You never know who's going to be knocking at your door. Good night, Purple, if you're taking off. And I hope you have a wonderful week ahead, Purple. Shoes, I've accidentally been timed out. It feels like forever, but LOL. You've been timed out, Kitty Coo? From where? I've never timed you out. And I have in my so on this side right here is the chat that you guys are all seeing. Over here, down on this side where you can't see it, I have a private chat with two moderators that are in there. They almost never comment, but they're in the chat right now or here in the live stream. And they haven't said anything about anybody being timed out here. Not tonight. The only one that usually runs right up to the edge of like being timed out, is Mr. Frosty. Sometimes they have an issue with some of the things that Mr. Frosty says. And yes, I know Mr. Frosty's changed his name, his screen name, but I don't have an issue with Mr. Frosty or whatever screen name he's going by today. Will help what? Dinner, but can't wait to catch the next. You have a wonderful week ahead, Wicked Witch of the Midwest. And I'm glad you could stop in, and enjoy tonight's trivia. We do this every single Sunday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 o'clock Mountain, 7 o'clock Eastern Time, or midnight if you're in the UK. Every single Sunday. Every Saturday, I have page 2 news where I recap crime, underreported crime stories from the week, prior. But that's at 8 a.m. on Saturday mornings. Rykart got timed out accidentally by who? I don't have anything listed here. I'm scrolling up. I don't see Rykart on. See, I can click on Rykart's comments. It's not showing Rykart as timed out. And my moderators that are in the private chats, they didn't do it. Did somebody else who's in the stream accidentally do it? I'm sorry. Well, I accidentally timed out Rykart. Uh-oh. Lorraine Lee Burnham. Hi, I'm back, but I'm sorry I went away for a bit. Yeah, it's all right. If you missed tonight's trivia, Lorraine, you can always watch it and rewind. There are 356 episodes of Trivia Night. Talk about a binge watching. We're almost up to a one episode for a year. And you could, for 360 days. Well, I can't untime him because I have to find the comment that was. Do you know which one it was clicked on? Don't fret about it. Cement shoes. If you accidentally timed out, someone, it happens. We're all human. None of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. Hell, I accidentally banned my sister from the YouTube channel for over a year, and I was wondering why she just disappeared. I was like, well, maybe she's mad at me for something else. I mean, it's my sister, right? But I accidentally I blocked her name, her screen name from being able to find my channel at all for a year, over a year. It happens. Now, I'm sure Rykart will not hold it against you or any of us for it. It was a mistake. That's my point. None of us are perfect. We all make mistakes, even if they're little mistakes here and there. That is correct. And while someone's timed out, they can still see the comments and they can still see the stream. They just can't comment itself. So, anybody got any suggestions for a trivia night? I have a suggestion that came in the other day. That's actually pretty intriguing. Let me tell you about it. The trivia night on the subject matter would be just on women on death row, females on death row. It's a pretty interesting, subject matter. I'm sorry, Joe Tallchief. I hope you're feeling better. And everyone else who's been under the weather or dealing with medical, issues, I hope that you're feeling better or you're getting better. It is allergy season where I am. We have Russian olive trees here. No, they don't produce actual olives. That's just the stupid name for the tree. And when they bloom, it looks like it's snowing. But I've got an entire book of suggestions. Let me see what's on Cement Shoes' list. Mob bosses. Yeah, let's turn to Cement Shoes. Cement Shoes has got its own page. All right. Ezra McCandles, O.J. Simpson, Stephen Avery, Jack Underweger, those are just the ones on the first two pages. And then I've got the Finn. I thought the Finn was going to be here tonight. Oh well, hopefully the Finn will be back next week. I've had 2 weeks of rain. Cannot seem to keep the grass cut. I've had that issue. Some not here where I live. I mean, I live in what's called a high desert plateau. When we do get rain, it's like it just dumps on you. But other than that, we don't get a whole lot of rain here. Don't get a lot of snow or anything else either. So it's pretty, tempered in that way. We never have tornadoes. We do get some flooding because we are downriver. But I live in between the Cascade Mountains and the Rockies. So the weather comes up over the top of the mountain range and it never has a chance to drop down into the valley where we are. So it's a desert. So it just goes up over the top of one and goes over the other. You don't know anything about Stephen Avery? Stephen Avery is an interesting subject matter, but then again, there's a lot of people who they're either, they're one side or the other on the whole entire case with Stephen Avery. Stephanie Larza. I have that on here, but thank you for the suggestion, Inner Peas. Some of the other suggestions that I have already. Do it on family annihilators like Christopher Watts, but not just on Christopher Watts, but other people who have killed their entire family. John Benet Ramsey. We just did Ted Bundy, but that was the next one on that list. Ma Barker, Bonnie Clyde, John Dillinger, Stephanie Larza, Ian Brady, Sean Vincent Gillis, Jeffrey Dahmer, the Kehoe brothers, 100% of the content that you see here on Trivia Night is suggested by viewers. I get every time someone suggests it, I put another mark next to it. Once they get 5, that's when I start actually, doing research on the actual subject matter. Unidentified serial killers and unsolved cases, like the Axeman of New Orleans. That is a good idea. Kitty Coo. I'm going to write that down. Kitty Coo. Unsolved X-Man of New Orleans. The Cleveland torso murder. Bob Barker. Bob Barker for The Price is Right, or Bob Barker, the company that supplies items to prisons in county jails and correctional facilities, federal and state. Yes, there is an actual company called Bob Barker that makes items for prisons, jails, and for the federal institutions. Servant Girl Annihilator from New Orleans. Charlie Chopoff. Just unsolved serial killers. I've done some on unsolved serial killers, like the Highway of Tears that goes through Canada, of the serial killers of Indigenous women that the mass media out there won't pay any attention to. And if they do, it's only like for 30 seconds. And hey, another Indigenous woman has disappeared. Hey, look, we found another Indigenous woman. Unidentified killer responsible for the murder of multiple children in Manhattan between 1972 and 1973. How about just unidentified children killers? People who killed them because then we can incorporate, Monkey, Michael Vaughn, John Benet Ramsey, and other cases like that. It's an idea. A servant girl in Austin, Texas, committed several murders, often of young women, with an axe between 1884 and 1885. There are an awful lot, Lorraine. An awful lot of murderers out there, famous, some somewhat infamous. I think tonight trivia about Ted Bundy. This is probably, I want to say, probably the fifth or sixth night that I've of trivia questions on just Ted Bundy, and I could easily do another trivia night on just Bundy. Let's see what other ones that we did not do that I had prepared for this. What university did Ted Bundy attend when he began his murders? The University of Washington is the answer. When he first started killing, he was attending the University of Washington. How did Bundy escape from jail the first time in Colorado? He jumped out the second-story law library window. They left him alone in the law library, and he went out the window. That was how he escaped the first time in Colorado. How many murder charges was Bundy convicted of in total? How many murder charges? We know he confessed to over 30, but how many was he actually convicted of? The answer is 3. 3. Yeah, he married Carol Ann Boone during his actual trial. There was a loophole during the actual legal loophole in Florida law. I do not know if that loophole's been closed or not. Which U.S. president signed a law that made interstate kidnapping a federal offense and later used against Bundy? Which U.S. president signed a law that made interstate kidnapping a federal offense? It was not an actual federal offense until this president signed it into law. That was Franklin Delano Roosevelt signed the Federal Kidnapping Act in 1932. Before then, it was not a federal law. So you could kidnap someone in 1930 or 1931, across state lines, and it wasn't a federal crime then. It could convict you on a state level, but not at the federal level. The complete thing that Judge Cohart said to Bundy at sentencing was the following: "Take care of yourself, young man. I say that to you sincerely. Take care of yourself. It's a tragedy for this court to see such a total waste." End quote. That's what he said at the actual sentencing. The question tonight was, what did Judge Cohart say to Bundy after sentencing him to death? That was the entire quote was, "Take care of yourself, young man. I say that sincerely. Take care of yourself. It's a tragedy for this court to see such a total waste." Those are just some of the questions that it didn't, or an expansion on ones that I did ask. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap up tonight's trivia. I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. I hope to see you all again next weekend, next Sunday or Saturday or both. Saturday morning again is the crime recap show for underreported stories. Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 o'clock Mountain, 11 o'clock Eastern. Trivia night is Sunday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 o'clock Mountain, and that's 7 o'clock on the Eastern time zone. midnight if you're in the UK. Told him he wished he could have seen him on the other side of the law representing people. Yeah, he made another statement about that if it wasn't for the circumstances, Kitty Q, I think that's what you're getting to, of him being there as a defendant on these charges, that he would have loved to have seen him in his, his court representing other people. But again, thank you to everyone that was here tonight. I hope you all have a terrific week ahead. Bye.